going to say, so I should probably introduce myself. My name is Nate Smith. I am stuck in I'm one of thousands and thousands of fathers and mothers. It's not just fathers that have had their kids taken from them unlawfully. These judges have not followed, they did not get the approval of the Constitution, which is the supreme law of the land. The supreme law of the land says on the 14th Amendment that we have a right to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. The Supreme Court, which is the federal government above state, said that the 14th Amendment, as what I consider, a lot of people don't realize this. So I'm going to give a little rundown, and this is kind of how it is. Supreme Court, U.S. Supreme Court, they're basically interpreters. They're interpreters of the United States Constitution, which is it's an old document. It's been around a long time. It's an amazing document. It was written on a time period where men had just gained their freedoms from slavery and tyranny. And if you're watching this internationally, yes, the United States has had a pretty rough history, but I can tell you one thing. It's basically right now we're in a strange time where we have political parties that feel that it's in the best interest of the country to have dictators. Dictators. Every time I think of that, I think of balls. Dictators. No. Basically, we're in a time period where we have a political party that feels like they want the people to be under the control of the government. Unfortunately, that's not how this government was established. This government gained its power by rebellion. It got its power by the freedoms of man, and nothing will get people to fight more than for their peace, right? So like if you're gonna come disturb my peace, I'm gonna swiftly and quickly do what I got to do to get back to that, And that being said, that's what this country is founded on, is freedoms. Now we back when this country was established, or I should say 10 years after we gained our independence from the English, they put together a document called the United States Constitution. And basically these are laws that were put on the government. These are not laws that were put on the people. These are laws that were put on the government to keep the government at bay, to keep them in check or in line with keeping freedoms and peace among man. The founding fathers of this country did not want our country to turn back into the way it is shaping into as we speak. Now, here's one thing I want to mention, and I'm okay. So a little rundown on me. I'm different. I think unorthodox. But if you give me a chance to explain, it may make your gears grind a little bit, and you might think that, I never thought about it like that before. But this is how I view it. And this is why I'm having such a difficult time in court. Although when I go into court, I'm explaining exactly the rules and what they are allowed to do and not do. Well, judges who have been unchecked, and I'll tell you why they've been unchecked here in a minute. Judges have been unchecked and not really called out on accountability, have a difficult time when a proper litigant who is very much qualified to tell them what they should and shouldn't be doing, as I am considered a sovereign citizen of the state who pays their paycheck. And that is why they do an oath to the Constitution, and allow me to explain. When somebody decides they want to take on a government job that entails dealing with the public or the people, kind of like a judge is an extreme example of that. So in order to be a judge, you have to become a lawyer, which is, like 4 to 6 years of law school. You get a doctorate in juris. Then you have to be practicing for 10 years before you can even be considered. Now, the way it's supposed to be is that the people have to vote you in. You go on a ballot. It's a politician's position, and in basically the judicial branch of the United States. But they're actually state judges, right? So whenever you see a court that says the Superior Court of Tuolumne or the Superior Court of San Mateo or the Superior Court of Concord, they are all state courts. And the reason why they mention the counties, or it'd be like the Superior Court of Contra Costa, the reason why they mention the counties is that's the geographical location of that particular court. It doesn't mean that they're a county court. They're all state. They're all state judges, state courts. So that being said, being a state judge basically gives you jurisdiction over what they call, it's called general jurisdiction. So state superior court courts are what's called general jurisdiction. They don't have, I mean, although they do have different courtrooms inside. And here's what's really confusing. And it was confusing for me at first. The courthouse itself is not just one courthouse. So if you go to a court, right, and they have the different rooms, right? They have, Department 1, Department 2, Department 3. And if you look at the calendar, you'll see that those departments do different things. Like in our court, Department 5 is a family commissioner, and he deals with mostly family matters, child support, just little things. Not he's kind of there to assist the workload and little quick in and outs, basically. And then you have Department 2, that is family court. Then you have Department 3, who is traffic and small claims. And then you have Department 1 and 2, or I'm sorry, 1, who is felony and misdemeanor criminal. And then you have 4, which is also felony and misdemeanor criminal. But basically the way California does it, as opposed to how the federal government does it, in which you can actually, okay, I'll explain. Hold on. Okay, so you have these different rooms, right? And they all do different things. You have judges in each room. Now, the federal court has a thing called subject matter. And under subject matter jurisdiction, they say that if you're a tax judge, like say you have a tax court federally, and you send a burglary there, that the judge does not have jurisdiction to adjudicate criminal court because he's there for tax, right? He specializes in taxes, like suing IRS over taxes, or getting tax returns, or throwing somebody in jail because they're evading taxes, that kind of thing. Like that's what they specialize in. Now, the reason why the federal court does that, which I believe is genius, is they usually have the judges that adjudicate in those particular subjects are usually experts, attorneys in that subject prior. So basically they're qualified to open up that courtroom. Now, the reason why they lose subject matter jurisdiction is because this is what the federal court believes. And I think this is amazing, is the federal court believes that if you end up in a courtroom under a judge that is not specialized in that field, is not the smartest one in that room in that field, that is unfair. And I agree. And what has been going on with me is the exact reason why the federal court does that. And this is what I've experienced. And I know that the judges, they go out and they seek evidence outside the courtroom like they're not supposed to do, because basically with some of the posts I've been putting up, which is my freedom of speech and it's my right to voice my opinion, they've been going out and seeing that and getting offended and retaliating in court based on the fact that they can't control their impulse. So that's an unfortunate thing for them, because as being a judge and they're adjudicating and they're supposed to be fair and honest and following the rules, whenever you adjudicate and you base somebody, you hammer somebody harshly because of the fact that you don't like something they said about you. Number one, a judge's position is a politician position. You are voted in by the people. I'm entitled to my opinion on you. I don't have to like you. And if I don't like you, you don't have the right to enforce harsher laws on me, which is a violation of cruel and unusual punishment on the Constitution that you swore an oath on. Okay. So anyways, we're going to move on from that because we will discuss that in several other podcasts in the future. Now, that being said, and I know I say that a lot, so be prepared to be like, oh, he just said that being said. He keeps saying that. It's annoying. Yeah. Well, it's tough. Just kidding. But anyways, so back on topic. Essentially the reason why federal court has subject matter jurisdiction, as I explained, the judge is supposed to be leading the courtroom in that particular topic. So he better know more than everybody else in there. Now, of course, you're going to get some tax attorneys that may know a little bit more. And if their credentials line up and they're fair, there's usually not an issue with a tax attorney that's honest, telling a judge or assisting the judge in understanding something that they may not know. I mean, judges are fallible. Everybody's fallible. We're humans. But you know what? So I understand that everybody's fallible. I have no problem with judges making mistakes. It's how they resolve those mistakes is what gives them their dignity. If I'm going to give you an example, on February 2nd, there was an ex parte hearing submitted by the law office of Julie Sockeld and Olivia Phillips, my child's mother, who had a at-home drug test that was purchased on or sold on Amazon. I don't know where she got it from per se, but they definitely sell them on Amazon. After an exchange on December 3rd of 2023, she claims, and I didn't hear about this until February 2nd, 2024. She claims that after an exchange with me, my son's father, me, it's ridiculous. It sounds weird talking in third person. That when after exchange, that his pupils were dilated to the brightest light, and that he was bouncing off the walls and hyper. And this is a declaration that was submitted on February 2nd. In fact, I'm thinking that before we get into that, I want to show you this video that I have on the screen right now that you guys can see. Now, this kind of stuff, although it may be allowed or legal in the state of California, I have a lot of judicial opinions of higher court judges on these particular judicial canons that state that although it may be legal because it's a right, it's definitely frowned upon. Because if this is witnessed, and this is the Judicial Council of California, by the way, and these are Supreme Court judges that are giving commentary on the opinions of the Judicial Council of California on judicial canons. Now, although it is legal for a judge and an attorney to be social, it is frowned upon because they state specifically that if a litigant like myself witnesses this, it is definitely grounds for recusal because of the fact that the Judicial Council believes, and I'm going to have to go into this with Kevin Siebert, because it seems that Kevin Siebert and a lot of traditional judges, having them recused due to bias or the thought or the feeling that you may not have a fair trial is like pulling teeth. I don't know why the judges do this. Maybe because they get offended because it's a ego thing. I don't know. But the Judicial Council has the opinion that this is how lenient that judges are supposed to be on recusals. The Judicial Council of California believes, according to their judicial canons, that being recused from a case, if a litigant feels, if it appears, it doesn't even have to be, but if it looks like they're not going to be impartial, you can recuse them, right? So, and it explains that, it elaborates on that. It says just the appearance of being partial is enough grounds for a litigant to have you excused. And they say, excuse yourself. And here's why. And I'm hoping that Kevin Siebert sees this, because he did mention that he saw a video that was not submitted in court as evidence, which means he was looking for outside evidence that was not presented in court, which also means that is pretty much an automatic recusal, because now the case is tainted. And so I asked for his recusal because I had already before he picked up this case, added him to a $100 million deprivations of rights lawsuit because my rights were violated under several federal charges when my child was taken from me. And that's the story I'm explaining right now. My child was taken from me on fraudulent charge, or in an incident that was a violation of due process. They accepted fraudulent evidence. And they also did not report this attorney for her unethical behavior as required by Judicial Canon 3D subsection 2. Now, the thing about it is, I will show you why in this video, because you will see in this video when I pause it. First, I want to mention that this is a party, a catered party for Judge David C. Beiersdorf when he was appointed, not voted by the people, when he was appointed by our governor to join the ranks as a judge. And here's the thing about it. He didn't remember me. And back when I was in my motorcycle club, I met him. He didn't remember me, but I remember him. I remember a lot of stuff. And I was in a motorcycle club, and I approached David C. Beiersdorf when he was running for judge against Laura Craig. Now, he came by a bike night that I was hosting in downtown Sonora, California. And he came by with his campaign. I think it was his campaign manager was with him or somebody else. And so I was talking to him, and I said, look, one of the members brought me over to him to introduce him to me. And I said, look, we have a lot of issues in Tuolumne County. I remember this conversation too. We have a lot of issues in Tuolumne County. I said, you know what? I said, here's the deal. if you promise me that you will be a fair and honest judge, I have no problem going back to church, which is basically a meeting, and asking the guys if we can do a poker run to raise funds for your campaign. Then, so we exchanged numbers. Later on that night, I called him and I said, I was giving it some thought, and it probably isn't a good idea that we raise funds for you because it's a motorcycle club, motorcycle, and it was a 1% motorcycle club. And motorcycle clubs are, they have a, not, it's a controversial controversial reputations, and things like that. And if he's going to become a Superior Court judge, it probably wouldn't be a good idea to have an organization raising funds for a position that is supposed to be neutral, enforces law, things like that. So I told him instead, I said, tell you what, instead I'll see if all the guys will vote for you. And I did. I voted for him. A couple of the guys voted for him, because he came to our bike night. It was only nice, it was cool that he showed up. It was like he was boots to the ground, coming and visiting the public. I mean, obviously he's campaigning, and he seemed like an honest and fair guy. Well, that wasn't the case when I got into court. In fact, when we got into court, it was not good. So the first time I came into court after I recused Judge Hallie Campbell, so let me back, but I'll tell you why I recused her. So this all started November 1st, 2022, when a false accusation of a mother claiming domestic violence on lies that were never burden proof was provided. So technically speaking, at the first hearing, this restraining order, this DVR should have dropped. But I know now why it wasn't. Tuolumne County has a what they've been doing is they've been allowing, and it's mostly these two particular attorneys. And I'm going to show you something about these two particular attorneys because one of them I hired, the other one she hired. And they are closer together in partnership as I thought. And this was never disclosed to me before I hired him. And he was asking me to do a lot of things that were more in favor of the attorney. And it got to the point where I'm like, well, whose attorney are you? Are you hers? And then come to find out, whenever I started doing investigations over the last year on these two particular attorneys, there's a little bit more to it. And so what I say right now, I have them based on a preponderance of evidence, they'd be guilty. It's a lot of it is as far as their actions. Julie Sockel, the law officer Julie Sockel, I have without a shadow of a doubt evidence of her committing felony perjury, fraud upon the court, and because it was malicious, I believe it's considered kidnapping. And I think that because there was malicious intent and it was premeditated, and here's the deal. Okay. I'm all over the place. This is, you got to bear with me. This is technically my second podcast I've ever done. Okay. So essentially, let me show you this video. I'm going to show you this video right now. This is a party for David C. Beiersdorf, which is one of my judges that I also got recused. And you will see, I will pause it and try to catch it. You will see in the corner at this party. I don't know. I would assume this is a private party. How I obtained this video, it was literally a drop in the bucket. It was amazing that it was a mother that discovered this and sent me to the Facebook page that it was at, and I ended up capturing it. So this video in itself is enough to give you grounds for recusal on two judges. One, this is a David C. Beiersdorf party for when he got appointed judge, not voted in, but the governor appointed him. And what you will see when I pause it is you will see Judge Hallie Campbell and Julie Sockel in the corner socializing at this party for judges, which is definitely frowned upon by the Judicial Council and the California State Bar. So I'm going to go ahead and start the video. David C. Beiersdorf. Those are the initials. Looks amazing. Now, if an attorney spent money on this, then they can judge. We went too far. Hold on. Let's back it up. Okay, so let's go right here. All right. Okay. Now, if you look in the far corner right there, you will see Julie Sockel with her beer gut and Hallie Campbell. That is Hallie Campbell's on the right. That is a judge in Superior Court. On the left is Attorney Julie Sacco, which is the opposing counsel in my case. And wait until I get to the point where I start posting up the legal documents, and you guys will look at it and see how extremely unfair and how extremely biased this is in regards to this. Basically, Julie Sacco there on the left has never been reported, to my knowledge, of her unethical behavior. And it has been reported blatantly to Judge Hallie Campbell. Now, the Judicial Canon 3D subsection 2 is not an optional thing. It is mandated. If she discovers unethical behavior, it is mandated that she has to either punish her or bring sanctions on her or report her to the California State Bar. There's enough evidence right now, and the California State Bar has asked me not long ago to submit all the evidence of the claims that I am claiming, which is not a problem, to them, so they can, if it's legitimate what I've been saying, that they're going to send it to an investigator. So hopefully by next year we will have Julie Sacco disbarred, and she will no longer be kidnapping children from healthy parents and fabricating lies and committing fraud. So this is a party, again, a catered party for David C. Beiersdorf, one of the Tuolumne County Superior Court judges. There's Hallie Campbell, one of the Tuolumne County Superior Court judges. And on the left, that's Julie Sacco, Law Office of Julie Sacco, a family attorney who solicits DVROs, false accusations against fathers to invoke what's called a Family Code 3044. A Family Code 3044 is California's, it's a rebuttable assumption that you are unfit to have joint or sole custody of a child because you were charged with domestic violence. Now, these civil domestic violence restraining orders it's a trial without a jury, and as you can tell, what they are doing is it's a money grab. So basically what they're doing is they're taking children away from dads, and now we're going to have a plethora of fatherless homes, all because they get $2 on every $3 that transfers from one parent to the other in federal subsidies. So what they're doing is they're frauding parents of the 14th Amendment fundamental right to the care, custody, and control of their children, so that they can fraud the federal government for higher amounts of subsidies. It's basically they're stuck in a rock and a hard place, because now we have a lawsuit in federal court that is sitting there for that reason. And what's happened since then is obvious. This proves their obvious guilt, is that I have had hackers breaking into my computers, my phones, since June, end of June. That is a violation of search and seizure. Not only that, but that is computer fraud. And from what I understand, a long time ago, the United States has declared or had said that, computer fraud in that extent can be defined as an act of terrorism, because it is. And that being said, we're going to move on here in a minute, but that being said, that's not the end of it. I've been arrested for the first time in my life because she filed a civil restraining order against me because I was filming a documentary in public on a public sidewalk in a commercial district in front of her office, not making contact with her, not making contact with anybody. And basically it's the equivalent of a First Amendment audit, because we have a right to freedom of press. And I'm going to show this. Not only do we have a freedom of press in the United States Constitution, but it's also in Section 1, Article 3 of the California Constitution. So, and it elaborates even more in the California Constitution. I am technically defined as a media outlet because I do have a website, fatherlyfreedom.com, that has been blogging this and posting this to the people. I now have a podcast. So this is essentially media. So that gives me immunities. So they basically filed a civil restraining order against me, not only based on a freedom of press, but also in violation of the immunities of press that California affords us as providing news and information to the public. So it's very unfortunate, and it was David C. Beiersdorf that granted the original EPO, and it was Ms. Hallie Campbell right there, or excuse me, Mrs. Hallie Campbell, that basically made it into a TRO. Now, to make matters worse, in California, according to timing 1.10 over TRO, you can only hold a TRO for 25 days, and that's extended. Now, last time I went in, it's been about 4 months, if not more at this point. So they're basically, they're also denying me the right to a speedy trial. They're also defying their own California rules of timing of a TRO at 1.10 in California. and holding it longer than 25 days. So they are violating freedom of press, which is the First Amendment, and they're violating state law or state rules by keeping it longer. Now, Hallie denied it. So Hallie denied my request to dismiss the TRO because she was in two of my cases. So I have a family law matter where she's on the hook because she fraudulently, Hallie Campbell, took my child away based on lies, fraudulent evidence, and due process violations because it was after everything was heard in court on the calendar and I left the courthouse. Ms. Julie Sockeld and also Olivia Phillips, the mother, stayed after and had ex parte communication claiming I drugged my child, brought this fake at-home drug test, which I have, you guys will love my 56-page response to that because shortly after that was when Hallie decided to remove herself from the case, which was probably a good idea. But then she tried to hang on to this civil restraining order case until probably about June, into June, when Mr. Kevin Siebert decided to pick it up after I filed my response to her in regards to her trying to deny her own 170.1, trying to claim a 170.1 is untimely, which you can't really claim a 170.1 is untimely because you can file a 170.1 at any time, including during in the middle of a trial. A 170.1 is an at-cause recusal. It means that you have a reason and you have evidence to prove a reason why it would be unethical or unreasonable or it would generate or that there's prejudice involved in her being a judge in the matter. Now, I had perfect grounds because she had violated federal law, she had violated state law, she had violated moral laws, and she had violated the rights and laws that the people have put on the judges and her oath. So by what she did, by taking my child away, I still have not seen my child in 7 months. I'm going to show some pictures and some videos of me and my son so that you guys can kind of get a gist of the kind of relationship that they broke between a father and son. It's now some of the videos I want to show why my son prefers to be with me. It's very heart-wrenching. So when I show it to you, hold on. Oh, sorry. I don't know what that was, but when I show it to you, it's very hard for me. I'm an emotional person, right? I'm an empath. And when I show you these videos, it's going to be very difficult for me to keep my composure. So you'll have to bear with me. Hold on. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and close this video out now. So we'll finish it out. So the video stops there. Okay. That video is enough evidence. And I'm saying this specifically, mostly to Tuolumne County. If you do end up getting a case that has Julie Sockeld as the opposing party and Hallie Campbell's the judge, this video will get that as grounds to recuse Hallie Campbell. Okay, so I'm gonna go back and right now you're looking at my OneDrive, so don't mind what you may or may not see because I have a lot of stuff in here. Okay, so I'm gonna go. I have a folder here. When I find it, I was developing my own router software there. Okay. Videos of Carter. This might be it. So I'm going to show you him, just stages through his life to show that I have established parental rights, right? I'm his dad. I'm his blood dad. This is him when he's very, very young, as you can tell.
What you do, Carter? Oh, I just sleep, my boy. What you doing, Carter? What's that? What you hear? What is that? Is that the doggies? Is that the doggies down there? Huh? What you doing? What you doing, Carter? That's a pretty boy. He's a pretty boy. Yeah. You're so cute. You're so cute. Yeah, it's a little baby boy. Yeah. It's a sleepy boy, huh? He wrapped up like a burrito. It's a cute burrito.
These are his first steps. And I want you to keep in mind, after these first steps, keep in mind, you will hear his mother's voice. This is when we were still in a relationship. And you can kind of see in this video kind of his preference of parent.
Why are you throwing your horse? Come get him. Come on, come get him.
Good boy! Yay! Good boy! Yay!
Okay. I'm going to show a few more videos, and then I'm going to show some videos. I'm going to show one video that I had to send to CPS. I was accused, when I approached CPS, I said, look, I'm a brand new father. This is my only child. I'm a brand new father. I'm not trying to snitch on anybody. But I want to show you guys a video, and then you guys can decide or give me advice on what I should do about it. Now, when I got this video, when he first told me this, I was conflicted. We weren't together at the time, and she was already attempting to retaliate. She was already attempting to be vicious at this point. And I knew that if I had reported this, that she was going to try to retaliate or use it against me in court to have Carter taken away from me. Now, I thought about it, and then I thought, why am I even concerned? Because if my son is telling me this, and he's young, and he's basically telling the other parent, and he's reaching out and he's crying, and he's asking for help in his own way, and I did nothing about it because I'm worried about retaliation. What kind of father would I be, or how would I be protecting him? So I'm going to show you one more video, and then I'm going to show you the video that I had to give to CPS. This is another video of my little boy.
Yeah. I love you.
I'll show you another one real quick.
This is what happens when I try to work from home. Ah! What? Oh.
Hello, wonderful citizens of Emerald City.
Can
It
you
is
hug?
I, Glinda.
You okay?
About to blow your minds with
Thank you.
goodness.
You okay? Oh, I'm coming here. I'm right here. You come here.
Okay. There's one more video I want to show you guys because I love showing this to people. So my little boy exhibits he has a really extremely high intelligence, but I can tell you right now he's also an unorthodox thinker. He's going to have some difficulties in school because he's going to be different. I did. And I was trying to, because I'm on that same level, we both are we think differently than others, and we're weird. I'm a blurter. I blurt out whatever comes to mind. It's very hard. It's hard for me to keep that under control. And that's why we relate so well. We're on the same page. I understand the way his mind works because I'm the same way. My dad was an engineer, also a military veteran in Ireland. Now he has autism. My brother has OCD Asperger's. I exhibit Asperger's, and so does my little boy. I'm not necessarily saying that he is, because I'm not a doctor, but I know the behaviors. He's different. He's highly intelligent. He learns very quickly. But here I want to show you a video of him at 4 months old, trying to say, "I love you." Okay, so listen close.
Yeah. Yeah, I love you. I love you. I love you. You say dada. Okay, dada. Dada. Hey, you. Hey, yourself. Hey. You say dada.
Okay. If you get here, I'm gonna play it one more time. Listen to the very first muddles that come out. You can hear them.
Yeah. Yeah, I love you. I love you. I love you. Yeah. Yeah, I love you. I love you.
So adorable. Okay. Now I'm going to show you the video that I had to give to CPS. this basically started CPS observing the dynamics, because in the very beginning, when I saw the bruise, I already knew, because I have a very, very strong intuition. I am very empathetic. I knew from the start that any bruises that he was going to get, whether it's from her or from playing, that she was going to attempt to accuse me of them and try to accuse me of being the abuser. Now, like I said before, narcissists usually blame the victim for what they're doing. So I want you to listen to what my boy tells me when I ask him where he got that bruise at.
Carter, what happened to your eye right here? Wait, turn and look at me. Who hit you? No, here, take that out of your mouth. Who hit you?
Mama hit me.
Who?
Mama hit me.
You okay?
Yeah.
Why did that happen?
It's her mama hit me.
Why? What happened? No, look at Dada. Carter, look at Dada. Can you take that out? Look at Dada. What happened?
A crack.
No, what happened right here? Carter, what happened right here? Let me see.
You can see he's nervous
Bubba.
about telling me about it.
How did that
He's
happen?
afraid.
Mama hit me.
Why?
Mama hit me.
Why?
Mama.
Why?
Mama.
Okay. So this is basically my boy. This is why I'm fighting in court. This is why I'm getting thrown in jail. This is why they are shutting down my disability. This is why they're attacking and hacking into my computers, because my little boy was taken from me on lies and fraud by the law office of Julie Sockeld. And the judges that swore an oath to the Constitution to protect our rights did nothing. So we're going to back out of here. All right. And, okay. Now I have another video here I wanted to show a year later, because that was when he was little. Let's see. You know what I can do? Okay, so this is what I can do. Let me see. Maybe I have. Let's see if I can find it here. Okay, no. Okay, here it is. So this is the video here that happened a year later, and I want to play it for you guys, and I want you to listen. This is a really tough one to listen to, and this is a year later, right? So
I mean, you want to stay?
Because I want you.
Wait, you want to stay here with me? You don't want to go home? You don't want to go to Mom's house?
No, I want to.
he didn't know I was recording.
Serious?
He thought it was just on my phone.
Bubba, how come?
And you can tell he's
Bubba,
afraid.
how come
He's
you don't
afraid
want
to
to go to
tell me.
Mama's house?
He's afraid that Mom's going to get on to him for telling,
Come here, BB.
which means manipulation,
Buddy, come here.
as usual.
Buddy, come here. You okay? Come here, buddy. Hey, are you okay? Oh, oh.
Want you. Yeah.
Here. Love you. You okay? What's the matter?
I want you.
I know, I get that, Bubba. But is there something wrong at Mom's house?
Yeah.
What's the matter?
He yelled at me.
What?
He yelled at me.
Who doesn't want you?
Mama.
Did you just... What? What do you mean Mama doesn't want you?
What?
What are you talking about? Carter, what are you talking about?
I want you.
I know, I want you too. That you're my son. Of course I want you. I love you. I know, Bubba. No, you look.
Then he found out I was recording.
Hi.
Hey,
Hi.
who's that? Is Carter?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In this.
And who's that? Who else is there? Who's it? Who's that? That's Carter and who?
Oh.
No, there's Carter, and who else is in that video?
Dad.
That's right, Dad. Yeah. What's your name?
Car.
What's your last name?
Hmm.
What's your full name?
Hmm.
Carter Smith.
Car.
Did you know your middle name is Nathaniel after my name?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Santa.
Yeah.
Hello.
Look at my shirt. Look at my shirt. You know what? You know what that is?
Yeah.
That's NASA.
This is
Yeah.
so cool.
Yeah, they do space exploration. They go out in space And they can land on the moon.
Yeah, and one. And a bogey.
Yep. I'm sorry that you and I you're gonna inherit being a nerd from Dad, because Dad's a big computer nerd.
Hey.
What?
You get back here.
You get back here. You get back here. I like you.
Back here.
Okay.
Okay, so that that's my best friend. Okay, so we're gonna move on from that. So my eye is already swollen from digging in digging at it earlier. Okay, back on topic. Okay, so what I want to show you guys now is since this is the beginning of the fight, and I was kind of building this up to this. Well, I wasn't building it up. I was basically standing my ground for almost a year. It actually was exactly a year, a little over a year and a month before they finally made the step to completely obliterate my constitutional rights and Carter's and my son's. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show, as you can see, I have folders everywhere. There's let me see if I can find it here. It is right. Is that it? Nope. Okay. These are California constitutional laws. Those are going to be addressed here shortly. Not in this video, but in court. Let me go. It is under, sorry. And if you have epilepsy, you probably should close your eyes at this point, because I'm going to be going through these folders really quickly. Let's see. It's under, should be an N. Oh, there it is. Look for that. Okay. So new fight for Carter, and you can see we got a lot of folders here. DUR against Olivia, recusal of judge. So when I show you this lawsuit, it'll give you kind of a gist. These are all the judges of the office. It'll give you a gist of kind of why they may have some resentment. I'm very bold. I'm very direct and bold when I talk. I don't sugarcoat things. And now the one thing you got to keep in mind is judges deal with only two types of people usually. They deal with attorneys who let judges be wrong because they don't want to offend. Because if they do and they get the judge to hate them, then nobody will hire them, because the judge will side negatively in all their cases. Now, I think that's disgusting, and I don't think that's right, because you should be judging based on whether they're guilty or not based on what side of the bed you woke up in the morning. And if you're being a judge that's behaving that way, then you need to recuse yourself from the case. Siebert, pretty much most of the judges started behaving this way when they started getting angry, when I started letting them know that there are rules that they have to follow, and they can't overstep those, because it's illegal. Like you can't when you violate somebody's constitutional rights, you're violating constitutional law. And the laws of the Constitution are the only laws that exist in this country that cannot be overturned. They can't be changed. They can't be bent. They can't be broken. They can't be written over. In fact, if anything, any other law that conflicts with the Constitution has to not be enforced and has to be null. So that being said, let me find it. Sorry. When I start talking, I can't walk and chew gum at the same time. Let's see. Is this it? Federal. This might be it. Okay. All right. Oh, here we go. Final lawsuit. Oh wait, no. Yes, I'm gonna show. You know what? I'm gonna show you guys the lawsuit first. In fact, I think I have it. Yeah, I'll show you the lawsuit. So this is the final lawsuit that is in Fresno. It starts off with this cover picture, right? That's me and Carter. It's a good picture. I didn't even take that. I didn't even know my friend was going to take that. And I did a cover letter. It's mostly for the clerk, and I will read it if you like. It says, "Dear Clerk of the Court, I'm writing to submit a civil action for a deprivations of rights under color law pursuant of 42 U.S.C. 1983. This lawsuit addresses severe violations of constitutional rights inflicted upon myself and my son, which have resulted in a substantial and irreparable harm. As detailed in the attached complaint, the actions taken by various judicial and law enforcement personnel in Tuolumne County have not only deprived me of my lawful rights, but have also inflicted significant emotional, psychological, and financial harm. These actions include, but not limited to, the wrongful issuance and enforcement of restraining orders, the manipulation of custody proceedings, and the unlawful imposition of financial burdens under fraudulent pretenses. The ongoing separation of my son under conditions where he is placed with the alleged abuser has caused irreversible damage to our parent-child relationship and to our individual emotional and psychological well-being. Additionally, the stress associated with these legal entanglements have severely impacted my physical and mental health, manifesting in conditions that are not adequately remediable by monetary compensation alone. Given the severity of the ongoing nature of these violations, I am seeking a judicial intervention to immediately halt all unconstitutional orders and actions against me. The relief sought includes, but not limited to, monetary damages in the sum of $100 million, an injunction to cease the enforcement of arbitrary and unconstitutional orders currently in effect, immediate restoration of full custody of my son, ensuring his well-being and our familial relationship. Consideration of criminal charges against all parties involved in the perpetration of these legal abuses. Enclosed are the complaint proposed for immediate injunction and supporting documents that outline the extensive and egregious nature of the rights violations experienced. It is imperative for the court to intervene promptly to prevent further harm and to rectify the injuries that have been imposed on my son and me. I have over a year's worth of evidence and many witnesses ready. Thank you for your attention to this urgent matter. I trust that the court will act swiftly to address these violations and to restore justice. So don't mind my reading. I'm only reading with one eye because my other eye is like swollen. Okay, so so right here, I like to add case law that's relevant from higher courts, and I do it on most of my submissions to the court so that I can let the judges know. I'm like a Snapple cat, right? I got some little at the end of all my posts or all of my submissions. I usually put some sort of piece of case law quote, of like manner. So I put enclosures. There's a complaint, proposed order for immediate injunctions, and supporting documents. Now I'm going to read the case law, and these are relevant to custody. It says parents' interest in custody of their children is a liberty interest. These are hard to read. Is a liberty interest which has received considerable constitutional protection. A parent who is deprived the custody of his or her child, even though temporary, suffers thereby grievous loss, and such loss deserves extensive due process. In the interest of Cooper, that was said in 1960. Hence, any ex parte hearing or lack of due process would not warrant termination of parental rights. Father enjoys the right to associate with his children, which is a guarantee by this amendment first, as incorporated in Amendment 14, which is embodied in the concept of liberty, as that word is used in the Due Process Clause of the 14th Amendment and Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment. These are really tough to read because they hit me right in the feelers. This one's tough. The U.S. Supreme Court noted that a parent's right to the companionship, care, custody, and management of his or her children is an interest far more precious than any property right. Okay, that's rough. Okay, so that's my opening letter. This is the complaint. Of course, I have a stamped copy. This is one I scanned before I sent it to him. I do have a stamped copy with the case number, but you can also look it up if you Google Smith v. Newsom. So I'm going to scroll down. Here's the basis for jurisdiction. The top part right here where it says basis for jurisdiction, that's something the court put, and you're supposed to kind of answer how it's relevant, how it's a federal question case. They want you to keep it brief. They don't want any legal arguments. It's really hard to submit this without legal arguments, but this is what I put. The basis for jurisdiction as a federal question. The federal Constitution, 1st, 2nd, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 14th Amendments have been clearly breached. 1st Furthermore, offenses have been committed against U.S. federal law under the following sections: 18 U.S. Code 241, 242, 286, 287, 371, 1031, 1951 AB2, 1961 1 AB2 345, 2382, 455, 31 U.S. Code 3729, A1 ABE, and 42 U.S. Code 658, 458, and Title D, amongst others. I actually am amending this because there is now probably 7 or 8 more that are going in there. I'm going to be adding federal extortion, receiving federal extortion, and extorting through using U.S. mail to extort for the child support agency, as well as David C. Brausdorf. Section 3, statement of claim. All events and rights violations and abuse all occurred in Tuolumne County, California. These rights and abuse started on November 1st, 2022, and is continuing. What are the facts underlying the claim? See attached, attachment A. Irreparable harm, emotional and psychological damage. Irreparable harm and ongoing separation of my son, especially under the circumstances of him being with the alleged abuser, creates deep emotional and psychological scars that are not easily quantifiable and compensatable with money. The emotional distress and trauma caused to both me and my son can have a long-lasting effect that are not adequately addressed by monetary compensation. Impact on parent-child relationship. The critical development years of my son are being affected, which could have irreversible impacts on his emotional well-being and my relationship with him. Health impacts. Physical health. The stress-induced health issues, such as my heart rate that won't drop below 100 and an A1C level above 11.1, are serious and potentially life-threatening conditions. While medical expenses can be quantified, the ongoing risk to my health and well-being potentially resulting in long-term or permanent damage transcends mere financial compensation. Mental health. The stress and anxiety of ongoing litigation and separation from my child are likely contributing to the mental health issues that are debilitating and not easily resolved through financial means alone. Anyways, it goes on. I'm not going to read a lot, like all of it, but this is basically what I'm requesting. So it has petition. It's asking for relief and to redress grievances, right? And then right here where it has immediate actions and injunctions requested from the following court. Now I went through. This is before this was submitted in May. So now I actually have a plethora more to add in there of more systematic abuse from the court. November 15, 2022, rescission of domestic violence restraining order DVRO. The issuance of a frivolous DVRO for disturbing her peace lacked requisite proof and should not have proceeded to trial. The presiding family commissioner, lacking proper jurisdiction, erroneously omitted inadmissible evidence, namely a video depicting mutual verbal disagreement without physical violence. This clear oversight and judicial discretion, as noted in the court's own minutes, underscores a violation of the First, Second, Eighth, and 14th Amendment rights. March 14th, 2023, termination of mandatory police exchange. The requirement to exchange custody at a police station is unfounded, as my record is devout of any criminal charges or harm to others. This condition was established based on false narrative, constituting an 8th Amendment violation. July 7th, 2023, reversal of the 1-year DVRO and ordered therapy. Initially, the commissioner acknowledged the absence of violence in the domestic setting, yet later altered the court minutes post my declaration of intent to appeal. The DVRO issued under the pretext of my son's haircut and alleged text messages represent a misuse of judicial authority aimed at an unjust custody modification. This action infringes upon our First, Second, Eighth, and 14th Amendment rights. July 10th, 2023, cancellation of prohibition against recording. The directive preventing me from recording interactions with my son seeks to undermine the evidentiary demonstration of our familial bond. This is a direct violation of our First and 14th Amendment rights. August 1st, 2023, amendment of visitation limitation. The restriction on my visitation rights imposed without any substantiated claims of abuse, neglect, or criminal behavior is unconstitutional. This order infringes upon our 8th and 14th Amendment rights. January 2nd, 2024, exclusion of my son from the DVRO pertaining to a haircut. The inclusion of my son in a DVRO for the mere act of receiving a haircut identical to mine is not only absurd, but also a violation of the 14th Amendment. February 2nd, this is where it gets nasty. This is why I filed the lawsuit. February 2nd, rescission of no visitation order based on disproven allegations. An order was issued denying me visitation based on perjured testimony and fraudulent evidence related to a false drug test allegedly conducted on December 3rd, 2023. Notably, I was not present in court when these false claims were made. Hospital records from the same date conclusively show a negative drug test result for my son, evidence that was disregarded by Judge Hallie Campbell and David Beiersdorf, despite its clear indication of perjury and fraud. This decision not only undermines my parental rights, but also appears motivated by financial incentives related to child support, constituting violations of the 5th, 6th, 8th, and 14th Amendments. March 15th, reversal of DVRO denied amid judicial bias. Judge David Beiersdorf similarly dismissed my petition for a domestic violence restraining order DVRO without due consideration in court, citing prior litigation had not occurred. This dismissal followed unlawful custody modifications based on the aforementioned fraudulent allegations. The judge's personal acquaintance with the opposing party further demonstrates his clear bias and a conflict of interest, violating First, 5th, 6th, 8th, and 14th Amendments. April 2nd, 2024, restoration of my custody rights and reversal of the FC 3044 denial. Despite satisfying all criteria necessary to rebut California FC 3044, Judge Beiersdorf denied my rights without explanation and further violated procedural justice by refusing a request for statement of decision under Family Code 3022.3. The minimal visitation granted appears designed to coerce participation in unnecessary and revenue-generating court-ordered programs, a manipulation of the system that infringes upon the 1st, 5th, 6th, 8th, and 14th Amendments. May 20th, 2024. Challenge to frivolous civil restraining order. The law office of Julie Sockeld and Clint Parrish has filed a baseless civil restraining order against me, motivated by my constitutionally protected activity of documenting and publicizing my legal struggles. This action is part of a broader pattern of abuse by state court, private attorneys, and other officials aimed at suppressing my advocacy and violating fundamental parental rights under the 14th Amendment. This has prompted my creation of a nonprofit organization, Fatherly Freedom, to defend these rights and expose systematic injustices. Extra requests. Actions taken in the complete absence of jurisdiction. I would also like to request from the federal court that all the immunities be pierced of all parties based on this action. The judges in question clearly had no jurisdiction to make all the unconstitutional orders. They have been acting completely out of control without any proper management, which has caused such a rift between the people's public trust and the state courts. They have been behaving without limitations, kidnapping children away from parents that have never been deemed unfit for revenue generation and just the sheer joy of being a tyrant. This is something that the great country has been fighting against since its birth. These judges need to be removed from the bench immediately. Please also consider all parties to be brought up on criminal charges. I am requesting that the federal court please protect the people of Tuolumne County and hold these criminals responsible for their crimes against their oath and our country. Okay, so then I said at the end, obviously, I quote some case law. So here's some more. Okay, so it says a parent's interest in the custody of their children is a liberty interest which has received considerable constitutional protection. A parent who's deprived of custody of his or her child, even though temporarily, suffers thereby grievous loss, and such loss deserves extensive due process protections. Law. Oh, this is rough. This one is dedicated to Siebert. Law and court procedures that are fair on their face but administered with an evil eye or a heavy hand were discriminatory and violated Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment. That was said in 1886. Then I put, my name at the end. Attachment A, this is the list of litigants. I'm not necessarily going to read the accusations against them because I'm going to amend this, so there may be parties that are removed and added. So keep that in mind. So we have, here's the defendants: Gavin Newsom, Judge Kevin Siebert, Judge Hallie Campbell, Judge David Beiersdorf, Commissioner Philip Pimentel, David Anaya Kirk, Ryan Campbell, Martin Huberty, Terry Woodrow, Frank Axe, Garen Tofanelli, Jeff Brown, Veronica Roberts. All those parties are, Veronica Roberts is the attorney for the Central Sierra Child Support Agency. The other parties are the board of directors. Cassandra Janeski, who is our district attorney, who turned a blind eye of criminal charges and having my child kidnapped. Nate Nutting, Clint Parrish, they're both attorneys. Oscar Martinez, Diego Martinez, they're brothers. They were security escort to help create a false narrative inside the safest building in Tuolumne County, as Judge Kevin Siebert reiterated. Natalia Monaco, Stacy Spring, those are the two clerks that were serving papers, the fraudulent papers. Sharon Sanders is the grandmother of that loaned the money to appoint the disgusting attorneys. California Highway Patrol, they're the ones that continue to show up in my family court matters for whatever reason to generate a bias. Central Sierra Child Support Agency. Olivia Phillips is the mother. Julie Sockeld is her attorney. And I have John and Jane Doe. Then I have a final picture of me and my little boy. So last time I seen him was January 28th. That was the last time I even heard his voice. I haven't seen or heard from him since. I had full custody removed based on a false drug test that was proven to be false, and they knew it was false. It was a lie. When I filed a 56-page response 9 days later after they did it, that showed all the evidence that what they said was complete and utter lies and fabricated and violated due process. My son was never returned to me. He was never returned to me and it drug on for about a year because I was fighting so hard in court that they could not find grounds to take him away. So they waited until I was not present in court, which violated my right to face my accuser and due process. And they revoked all custody. And not only that, but Hallie Campbell filed a anti-abduction order on me saying I had prior accusations of child abuse, which is a lie. She does, actually. I have 16 pages of CPS reports that claim that Olivia is the perpetrator. Also that she caused neglect by what had occurred. CPS had ruled that she caused neglect on Carter by basically alienating him from his father without grounds. So this is the lawsuit that's in federal court right now. You can Google it. It's there. It's 14 pages. It's sitting right now waiting to be screened. I believe that federal court right now under this magistrate is causing undue delay. I am going to follow up on this pretty soon. I'm filing a writ of supersedis on this to hurry up and overturn these orders before they decide to throw me in prison and then I can't respond, which I believe is their intent. So keep in mind, this has all been nothing but retaliation, and accountability will come on them that sounds, okay, let me rephrase Let me rephrase that. Accountability will come to them pretty soon. Sorry. Okay. I'm going to stop it here. This is an hour-long podcast. Let's make this the first episode. I shot a 10-minute pilot. So this is going to be the first ever episode of Fatherly Freedom. And it's basically my story. Future podcasts, I have a ton of players in this game. When I say players in this game, I just mean characters in this thing we call bullshit. And basically, California is definitely not within their power or jurisdiction. I mean, it's their jurisdiction, right? So federal court has given state courts the ability to adjudicate family law, but there's stipulations on that. The U.S. Supreme Court has ruled that being a parent is a 14th Amendment fundamental right, not a privilege, and state courts are treating it like a privilege, and they are revoking our kids without any sort of moral, moral canter. And that, I'm sure that's the wrong way to use that word, but nonetheless, it makes me sound smarter. And so this lawsuit, I am a pro per represented party. So when you Google this and you see it on the federal court, you'll see one plaintiff and 25 defendants. So it's basically me. I do have no attorney. I put this together myself with the assistance of an AI server that I built that the opposing counsel party, one of these parties, somebody decided to take out with a nasty piece of malware. Probably the nastiest piece of malware I've ever seen. So it's me against these litigants here. And this has been a fight to recover my son that I'm going to prove was kidnapped because it was with malintent. If you can prove kidnapping under 18 USC 242, which is deprivation of the rights under color of law, it can be up to life in prison. So, and it pierces immunity. So anyways, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching the video. And if you have any suggestions or you have any requests, let me know. I might try to do these once a week. It's going to be good therapy for me because this has been nothing but a disastrous stress. As you can see in this picture, I have a really big head. I was probably about 200 pounds there. The biggest I've been about 245. I'm 5'10". I'm sitting at about 156 now. So I lost a ton of weight. Just crash diet, depression diet. Anyways, hour and 5 minutes this has been going. So thanks for listening, watching, whatever. And again, hit me up. My website's followleafreedom.com. I haven't been able to log into it in a while because I have hackers that are, it's a constant attack. It's been going on since June. This isn't a run of the mill, just I'm going to grab your bank account and jam. It's almost every other day. So anyways, good luck guys. And maybe I could have somebody on the show if you got a story you'd like to share.